Hey everyone, what's going on? Jeff here from Films at Home, and in today's video we are going to be running through the next few months worth of 4K releases. I like to do one of these videos every quarter or so every about 2 or 3 months throughout the year, and I haven't done one I think since February, so this is going to be the May through roughly end of July update. I'm going to give you all the 4K titles that I know of that are coming in May, June, and July, as well as a couple of rumors and other things that may be coming in August and into the later parts of this year. Everything from May to July is 100% confirmed, and then I'll talk about rumors at the end. So we're going to go in chronological order here, starting with May 17th, and we're going to go all the way through to the end of July of 2022. So this will give you a good idea of what you need to save up for, what might be coming, what you shouldn't buy on Blu-ray because we got 4K discs coming, and what you should be really excited about for this 4K format. So stay tuned to the end so you make sure you see all of them. Now, if you want to make sure you're up to date on all your 4K Blu-ray reviews and news and movie collecting and physical media stuff, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. That helps support the physical media community as a whole, and I'm really trying to grow this community to 100,000 here on YouTube, so you can help by hitting that subscribe button. We're only about 10,000 away as of me making this video, so I appreciate every one of you who's subscribed so far, and hopefully if you haven't, you do that now. So we're going to jump right into things here with some titles that are coming out on May 17th, and because I do get some stuff early, I actually have a couple on hand. One of them is the first Paramount Presents 4K title, which is The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. This is their first foray into 4K on the Paramount Presents line. I'll be reviewing that soon. And then we also have Infinite, which is coming out, a Mark Wahlberg movie on 4K, which I already have here as well. Now, also on May 17th, we are getting Escape from New York in the United States. That has been already available overseas on 4K. In fact, I already have it and have reviewed it myself on the channel, but we're getting that in the United States for the first time. And then we're also getting The Craft, great witch movie from 1996, very classic 90s movie, but also one that just got a sequel. So if you want to see the better original, definitely watch the original The Craft and not The Craft Legacy. That's on May 17th. And then to round things out, we got Beverly Hills Cop 2. They did Beverly Hills Cop 1 on 4K, and they released all 3 of the Beverly Hills Cop movies on 4K digitally a couple years back, so now we're finally getting the physical discs for all of those. Now, jumping 1 week forward into May 24th, and you will notice these are all 1 week apart. New 4K and Blu-ray discs typically come out on Tuesdays, so everything is 1 week apart. Now, on May 24th, we've got The Batman. Great movie. I saw it in theaters. Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson. Just an excellent crafted Batman story. I cannot wait to see how that looks on 4K, so that's coming out very soon. We've also got Candyman coming out on 4K from Shout Factory, as well as Life Force on 4K from Shout Factory, so the 2 of those will both be available on the 24th, and those are both upgrades from previously released Shout Factory Collector's Edition Blu-rays. Then from Arrow Video, we've got Wild Things coming to 4K for the first time, so Arrow continues to pump out 4K releases, and then a bit of a surprising one, and it's Malignant on 4K. That was released last year, only got a Blu-ray release, which is super disappointing because I think it was one of the more unique, better horror movies of 2021, and they kind of shortchanged it with the Blu-ray release, and now Warner Brothers is changing their mind and doing a 4K. Super annoying for all of us that bought the Blu-rays thinking that was all we were going to get to now get a 4K. I'm glad they're doing it, but I wish they had just done it before. It seems like a real money grab for a double dip, and it's really disappointing as a collector and people who invest in this format to see studios do this. But we are getting Malignant on 4K on the 24th. Now, we could jump to May 31st, but in between here, there is one odd release coming on May 27th, and that is Miami Connection. This is notoriously like one of the worst good movies ever made, like so bad it's good. Super goofy. I have the Blu-ray release that came out from Draft House Films years ago, has since gone out of print and was pretty expensive, but now they're bringing it to 4K from Vinegar Syndrome, so that's going to be a new release that comes out on a Friday, believe it or not, which is not typical of Blu-ray and 4K releases, but wanted to note that here. So then jumping ahead to the 31st, we got some good stuff. First of all, from Kino, we got For a Few Dollars More and A Fistful of Dollars, 2 more in the Clint Eastwood Man with No Name trilogy. So Kino is rounding out their 4K trilogy there with those last 2. We've also got another Criterion 4K, Double Indemnity. That's a film noir movie which is coming to 4K. Haven't had a chance to see it myself yet because Criterion doesn't send me review copies, but I will eventually get that in a sale at some point and review it, but early reviews have pointed to that being a pretty good 4K disc. Now, continuing with the 31st, we got The Untouchables. That's coming to 4K for the first time, which will be a pretty exciting one. Can't wait to revisit that in 4K. And then we've also got Death Wish 2, Charles Bronson movie, coming in 4K as well. Now, Shout Factory has a couple more releases on this day. Happy Death Day 1 and Happy Death Day 2U. Now, I had talked about these in a previous video. Not really sure these are totally worth a 4K upgrade. They're both 2K. They're going to be upscales. They're not really movies that require 4K. Thought it was sort of an odd choice. I get they're popular movies, but I don't know how well those will sell. Personally, I can't see myself upgrading. Then from Sony, we've got 1776, which should be a pretty good transfer. Sony does a good job, and that one has the potential to be really nice. Now, jumping ahead to June, we're into June 7th, and we have an exciting one here for people who didn't get the Columbia Classics Volume 1 box set because Lawrence of Arabia is coming to 4K. It's a 4K steelbook, but this is the first individual release of Lawrence of Arabia on 4K. Now, we're also getting another re-release of the Bourne trilogy, or actually, I should say not a trilogy anymore, the full Bourne collection, both on steelbook and just a box set. Those transfers are kind of iffy. Doesn't look like they're getting new transfers, just new packaging here. We're also getting Robert Eggers' new film, The Northman, on 4K. Didn't get a chance to see that in theaters, just having a kid and everything just doesn't allow me to get to the theaters as often. I wish I could have seen that one in theaters, but I'm very excited to watch it in 4K. And then from A24, we also have the release of X, the new movie from Ty West, which is supposed to be coming on the 7th. I haven't seen 100% confirmation on this, whether it's going to be Blu-ray and 4K or just Blu-ray. Still waiting to see 4K, but I know it's going to be available in some other countries on 4K, so I'm hoping it will be available in the US as well. And then also on the 7th, we got a Chris Pine movie, The Contractor. Sort of flew under the radar, but that is getting a 4K release on the 7th if you're interested. Jumping ahead 1 week to June 14th, this is a bit of a slow day. We've got two major releases. We've got Everything Everywhere All at Once from A24, another one I wish I could have seen in the theaters, but will be very excited to watch in 4K because it should be visually stunning. I can't wait to see that one. And then we've also got the sort of box office flop, I would say, Morbius, although a lot of people enjoyed it more than I think the critics did, but that Jared Leto Sony Pictures comic book movie to tie in with Spider-Man, that's getting a steelbook and a standard release on 4K on the 14th. Now on June 21st, we got a pretty decent day here, starting with a Criterion Collection 4K release of Shaft. This should be one that does really well on 4K and should look really good. Based on Criterion's past 4K discs, they're a little hit or miss, to be honest, but I think that their last few have been better. Now, from Warner Brothers, we're also getting Giant on 4K. Now, unfortunately, Warner has told me they're not sending review copies for that. I hope this is not a trend because I've gotten the same news from Disney that Disney and Fox aren't doing review copies anymore. I'm really hoping Warner isn't going that path as well, but I'm going to try to get my hands on Giant and review that on 4K for you all. That comes out on the 21st. And then we've also got the new Nick Cage movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which I've heard excellent things about. Another one, if I didn't have a kid right now, my wife and I probably would have got out to see that in theaters, but another one that I'll be watching at home for sure and definitely excited to check out. And then to round out the day, we've got Uncle Sam coming from Blue Underground. Blue Underground does great stuff, so I'm always expecting the highest quality from them. And then we've also got a Universal Soldier 4K Steelbook release, which should be kind of neat for you Steelbook collectors out there. Jumping ahead 1 week, end of June here, we're at June 28th, and we got a couple of Kino Lorber releases and an Arrow Video 4K release today. First, we've got Out of Sight, which is a very underrated movie, I think, that Kino is putting out on 4K. It's got George Clooney, Jennifer Lopez, very good, like, action, crime, thriller movie. Super, super underrated. I think you guys should watch it if you haven't seen it. But then we've also got Killer's Kiss coming from Kino. So a little bit of a different film there. Much older movie, more of a classic, almost like film noir type deal. So those two are drastically different movies, but both coming from Kino. And again, Kino, tell them, send me copies because I would love to review these and I just can't buy every single 4K disc that comes out. It's just not feasible. I have a family to support. But if Kino sends them, I 100% will review them. Otherwise, you got to give me some time to pick these up on sale like I did in the last Kino Lorber sale. So tell them, send me some copies. I'll do good work for them. And then to round out the 28th, we've got Arrow Video's release of True Romance coming in the US for the first time. This had been available overseas, but this is the first 4K release of True Romance in the US. And it's a good one because True Romance has been sort of hard to find and I believe out of print for a little bit. So I'm excited to see this one get a 4K release. And thankfully, Arrow Video does a great job supporting my channel, and so I should have that one to review early for you all. Now on July 5th, we got a pretty big Criterion Collection day. Right after the 4th of July, we've got the Bong Joon-ho movie Okja from Netflix. That's actually coming to 4K now on physical media, courtesy of Criterion, so that should be an exciting one. And then we've also got Sofia Coppola's Virgin Suicides coming to 4K. Sort of an interesting choice for 4K there. Not sure that's a movie that'll take full advantage of the format, but we'll see. And then on that day as well, we've got Edge of Tomorrow coming, which should be a blast to watch in 4K, especially if they can keep the sound right or maybe do an upgraded audio track of some sort. I remember the Blu-ray, what was this, 7 or 8 years ago now that came out, I think, 2014-ish, 2015. Sounds amazing. It's like a demo quality disc, and the opening scene is unreal. So I'm really excited to check Edge of Tomorrow out in 4K. And if you guys haven't seen that movie, it's also called Live, Die, Repeat, or Edge of Tomorrow. Definitely check it out. Well worth it, and one of the most underrated sci-fi movies of the last 10 years. So jumping ahead 1 week to July 12th, just a single title on this day, and it's Raging Bull, so it's a pretty big one. This is the Criterion 4K release of Martin Scorsese and Robert De Niro's massive hit, one of the greatest movies ever made, especially most critics would tell you it's top 5 American movies. Raging Bull is a big time 4K release that I cannot wait to check out. That is one that I'll probably try to buy on day one from Criterion, although in July it should be noted that that is typically when a 50% off sale happens at Barnes & Noble. So we've got a few Criterion 4Ks coming out in July. I may be a big buyer in those if Criterion doesn't send them to me. So although July 12th was a little bit slow, July 19th is a very big day for 4K releases. And then speaking of Criterion, we got Devil in a Blue Dress, which is one of Denzel's most underrated movies and one I highly recommend. I love Denzel Washington. This is one of his best, and this is getting a 4K release from Criterion that I'm super excited about. Then we get another one from Blue Underground. We get God Told Me To, which is a kind of like serial killer movie. Basically, this guy's killing people because God told him to. Almost gives me like Son of Sam type vibes reading the synopsis, although I haven't seen the movie. Since it's Blue Underground, I'll definitely be checking it out on 4K. And then we got a couple of others from producer Mustafa Akkad, who you probably know his name from the Halloween movies because he's the producer and now his son behind Halloween. But he actually made a few movies earlier that were sort of like Islamic history based, which are pretty cool. The first one is Lion of the Desert, which is a World War II story. And then we've got The Message, which is the story of Muhammad, the Islamic prophet, and sort of like the beginnings of the religion and, kind of a really cool historical piece. So the two of those should both look great in 4K given how they were shot. They're kind of big, epic movies. So the 19th is a big day, but July 26th is equally as big with lots of boutique stuff. To kick things off, we just got new artwork for The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind from Kino Lorber. That's coming on 4K from them on the 26th. And they're also releasing Stanley Kubrick's The Killing on the 26th as well on 4K. That's going to be an upgrade from Criterion's Blu-ray version. So another head-to-head comparison to do there, and another Kino 4K title that they took from Criterion's Blu-ray catalog. Very interesting how that's working. We've also got 3 titles from Shout Factory. We've got Dog Soldiers coming on 4K, which is a cult classic that a lot of people love. Also got Funhouse coming on 4K, sort of a goofy 80s slasher movie. And then we've also got Species, which is a really fun alien invasion movie that I just recently posted on TikTok as one of my favorite alien movies. After I watched Fire in the Sky, I went diving through some others in my collection, and Species is really good, and I'm excited to see that come to 4K. So then from Arrow Video on the 26th, we've got Dario Argento's Tenebrae. I think that's how you say it. Don't quote me. I've never heard it said out loud. I've only seen it and read about it because I've never actually seen the movie. I think it's Tenebrae, but that's coming out on 4K. That's a really good one. I love all the Argento stuff on 4K from Arrow Video. And then we've also got Out of the Blue, which is coming from Vinegar Syndrome. So that's kind of a cool, I would say not a very mainstream movie, but Vinegar Syndrome picks up some really cool titles and occasionally does 4K, so that's one to watch out for. And then for mainstream stuff, we've just got Lost City, which is the new Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum pilot. That's it for July, and then into August, we only have a couple of confirmations right now. On August 9th, this was newly announced, we've got Event Horizon on 4K coming from Paramount. Should be a blast. That's another one that actually just got a Scream Factory Blu-ray release. Now Paramount's taking it direct to 4K through their line. Interesting how we keep seeing this happen. It's like really, shooting in the dark sometimes when it's like, should I buy the Blu-ray? Should I wait for 4K? Some of these movies I would have never expected to come to 4K, and some of them are getting 4K releases literally just months after a new Blu-ray release. So it's kind of crazy. But then also on August 9th, we're getting Drive from 88 Films. So they're doing some U.S. stuff now. This is not the Ryan Gosling Drive. This is Drive from 1997. So a little bit lesser known. Not going to probably be a huge seller, but for the 88 Films line where they're more cult and niche, that'll be a good one for them. And then on August 23rd, we've got Paths of Glory coming to 4K from Kino. So that's another one that they have taken from the Criterion Blu-ray collection, and they are upgrading to 4K on their line. That'll be an interesting comparison. And then we get Dragons Forever coming to 4K as well. And that rounds out all of the confirmations I can give you. Now, in terms of rumors, if you stuck around to the end, thank you, because here's the fun stuff. Now, I know for the rest of 2022, there's going to be more A24 shop exclusives. There will likely be an A24 shop 4K exclusive of Hereditary. There are probably going to be a couple of other big name titles that are coming to 4K from the A24 shop. I have heard that they want to take more of their stuff in-house, but then they're also working with Criterion on 4K, so you could see some of their stuff end up on the Criterion label like Uncut Gems did. I think you could also see A24 do Ex Machina and It Comes at Night, as well as a lot of other their, major title. A24 has this cult following now that is at the level of Arrow Video, Criterion, if not bigger. So they're going to take advantage of their label and put out some exclusives. So keep your eye on A24 shop and make sure you sign up for their emails so you don't miss anything. Now you're also going to see some more stuff from Studio Canal that may make its way to the US, or at the very least should at some point. We've got Manhunter, we've got The Driver. You're also going to see more Columbia Classics. You're going to see Volume 3 most likely, and I think we've confirmed sort of loosely a few movies. It Happened One Night, Tootsie, those are both definitely coming to the next version of Volume 3 of the Columbia Classics. And then I also think you're going to see more like Criterion to Kino Lorber crossovers. You're going to see things like 12 Angry Men. That's going to come to 4K. You're also going to see some Universal Classics Monsters movies come to 4K at some point. Maybe this year, maybe next year, but Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Bride of Frankenstein, that sort of stuff is going to start to come to 4K as well at some point this year. I mean, there's really a ton of rumors out there. There are a ton of 4K releases in the works, both at Criterion, at Arrow Video, at the major studios, at places like Shout Factory, Kino. Like, I can't talk about some of them, but I'll tell you that the rest of 2022 and into 2023, there's going to be no shortage of 4K discs, and the majority of them are going to be from boutique labels. So I'd get your wallets ready. So that's really it for like the rumors. I like I said, I can't say too much. I know some stuff, but I'm not allowed to talk about it, and I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want to blow up anybody's spot or ruin anybody's reputation or anything like that. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But I'll just say, keep an eye on A24 shop. Keep an eye on Kino Lorber. Keep an eye on Criterion. Keep an eye on Arrow Video, Shout Factory, and keep an eye on Sony and Universal for some expanded Columbia Classics and Universal Monsters sets, because there's more coming. So thanks for watching this. Hopefully this gives you an idea of what's coming in the next couple of months. I'll leave as many links to pre-orders as I can in the description, although a lot of this stuff hasn't been listed yet. So just know this is what's coming, this is what's confirmed, and as always, I'm doing this in May. There are huge chances that these things may get pushed around. I thought Panic Room was supposed to come out earlier this year. It's been delayed twice. There's stuff like that that happens. Things get delayed, things get pushed back. So, bear with some of the dates, but for the most part, you can pretty much bank on these May, June, and July dates. And the rest of the stuff, we'll see where some of that ends up landing. So make sure you like this video and subscribe and have your notifications on so you never miss a video. And liking the video helps share this to others in the community and spreads the word on YouTube and everywhere else. So I appreciate it. And also feel free to share this wherever, Facebook, Reddit, wherever you want to share this, please. My permission. Take the link, post it, share it. I'd really appreciate it. Also, make sure to follow me on social media. All the links are in the description, as well as all the links to my new Films at Home podcast, where I'm doing great stuff every week. Both audio and video versions are available, so you can find me on Spotify, Apple, wherever, as well as right here on YouTube in the Films at Home playlist. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy out there. Start saving now for all these crazy 4K releases, and I will talk to you all soon.